So when you're Betfair trading, especially on horse racing, there are a number of ways that you could create a profit from a market. But one of the popular ways of doing that is to look for a steamer. You know the sort of market that we're looking at. Somebody fancies a horse, people start backing it, and then because people are backing it, more people back it. And it very often means that the steamer doesn't win the race. But if you're trading, then of course you can get a profit regardless of whether that steamer goes on to win the race. So let's have a look at how you can spot a steamer. If you're interested in learning to trade on Betfair, then visit the BetAngel Academy, where you have detailed, structured Betfair trading courses. Or why not visit our website where you can download a free trial of BetAngel Professional, but also visit the forum where you can get detailed images, examples, and downloadable files. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon if you want notification of new videos as they're released. So as you know, I like to trade order flow. I have done videos where we're talking about things that can create steamers within the market, sort of a sequence of events that then sort of catapults a market to start backing something heavily. But typically, most of the time I spend sat at my screen looking at the market, trying to make an assessment of what the market thinks of a particular runner. So sometimes, something happens within the market and then I'll think, well, why did that happen? And then you start to chain together the sequence of events. So it's not always that you spot it one way, you may spot it the other way around. And when you trade order flow, you're generally not too worried about what's causing it. So you can see it on the screen, you can see it on the ladders, and you just trade what you see. But of course there's this question of, what are you looking at within the market? So there was a sequence of races fairly recently that I recorded, and on one of them there was a large backer in the market that was causing the price to come in. Now, I've said at the front of this video we're looking for steamers, but you get graduations of that as well, because sometimes something will just get absolutely backed off the board, and sometimes it's a little bit more subtle than that. You're looking sort of between all of the information, and you're trying to judge what's going on within the market and trying to pick up on general activity that you see within the market. So the video I'm going to choose here isn't like a clear, dead obvious one, but it sort of gives you that X-ray vision that perhaps you want to understand what's really going on within the market. And when you look at it fundamentally, how does the price on something start to come in? Well, if you look at the center of the market, or even a little bit further out, you've got money on both sides. Now, if there's more people backing than there are laying, then the price necessarily comes in, and vice versa. But let's look at it at a slightly more granular level here. If we have £10 on the back side and £1,000 on the lay side, and somebody comes up with an order of £100, and they decide to, let's say, lay in this particular occasion, there's £1,000 sat on the lay side, somebody takes 100 off of it, nothing's going to happen. However, if you look at the back side of the market, somebody takes £100 and there's only 10 available, they will take that £10, and what happens on a betting exchange is the rest of the money sits and waits in the order queue. But if it's right at the centre of the market, then what actually happens is the £10 gets taken, and then the £90 actually shifts across to the lay side. So effectively, the price starts to move. So if you look at the market at a very, very core level, that is how the price moves. If there's less money there and somebody comes in with a large amount that they want to back, it will actually take out that money, but curiously, the remainder of the money sits in the market waiting for somebody to lay. So the price actually moves. And despite the fact that you backed, the order appears on the lay side. And those are the sort of mechanics of how prices move. Now, if you widen that definition a little bit and you sort of say, there's £500 spread over 3 prices, then obviously if somebody comes in and slaps a large amount of money down, they're going to wipe out all of those prices and pull the price in that particular direction itself. So yeah, it's sometimes worth thinking through the way that the market works, because it will enable you to identify and clearly spot activity that supports whatever trade you're actually doing. And with that in mind, let's have a look at one of the videos that I recorded, which basically picks up and identifies that there's a large backer in the market. And if there's a large backer in the market, what's going to happen to the price? It's going to pull it down. And that's what we did on this particular trade. We could see the large backer. We put a trade in to exploit that. But without further ado, let's have a look at that video. So looking at this race, the price is at the bottom end of its traded range. We've seen evidence that we think it's going to be backed. So we're getting involved in the market. Now if you look here, you can see that the current amount of money being matched is on a firm downward trend. So that's quite helpful. That's pretty useful. We can see that there was a back order as we entered the market as well. That's particularly helpful. So we're building a stake into the market, something that we feel comfortable with, and we'll add or remove to that depending upon how we think the trade is going to go. So if you watch the market now, can you see what happened there? There was £1,000 went through the market. We saw it was backed at 244 for about 1,000, and that brought the price down. So again, we're seeing confirmation there that there is a back order in the market, and that the backing is continuing. Now, as you can see, the price has started to go up again, and very often what a lot of people do is panic and dump their position. But when we're looking for a slightly longer term trade, we're looking to see this trade through to the finish. There's a big order that went through there, so that sort of makes us feel like we're a bit more certain that we're on the right track there. So you look at that money that came through the market, and you're sort of thinking, are we going to see that continue? So you can see I've put some closing orders towards the bottom of the current traded range, and what I'm doing is just sort of thinning out my position basically. But because we had that big back order in the market, I'm feeling a bit more certain that we're probably going to get some activity in the market. Now here we see a snapback. So price goes up, price goes down. Somebody put a low order in the market, and it just coincided with when this person put a back order in the market. So that doesn't particularly change our opinion in the overall scheme of things. But what I'm going to do now is start putting orders towards the bottom of where I expect the price to trade, which is around the sort of 228-ish mark or thereabouts. And then we start looking for more evidence that there's backing activity in the market. So you can see there's another back order in the market, probably about sort of, it's going to be more than £5,000, so probably about a £10,000 order went through the market, caused the price to bump in. So it looks like the person that is at the price above where we were is probably going to move that price down. They seem to be willing to take a lower price within the market at that particular point. So you can see the price is drifting up, but we're still in a positive trade at this particular moment in time. So we're just waiting to see how things develop, and there he is again. So you can see at 252 there's a back order went in the market around that level, and this gives you a little bit more confidence. So you can see I'm spreading the orders out a little bit below where they are at this particular moment in time. Then we have to sit and wait for the trend. And there he is again. So can you see we're seeing this repeating pattern of behavior? It's, the price is coming down, there's a back order in the market, the price sort of drifts away a little bit gently, and then we see the backing again, and then the price, and then we see the backing again. So we're feeling more and more confident with this particular trade, but we're running out of time. You can see that we've only got about a minute left, so we have to start focusing now on exiting this trade. So it's a race against time to get our position out of the market without influencing the direction. So that's why I break up the trades, just gently feeding those orders back into the market. Whereas if I dump them all in one go, I may stop the trend continuing from there. So just gently feeding the orders back into the market, trying to make sure, and there he is again. So you can see another sort of 5-10 grand, and there he is again and again. So you can see that he really wanted to get this on, and perhaps if we'd held on for a little bit longer we could have squeezed a little bit more out of this trade. But ultimately what we're trying to do is we picked our entry point, we picked roughly where we thought we were going to be, and you can see we made £90 hedged, 205 basically unhedged. We've made about a £90 profit in this particular market. So what we were picking up on there is we were looking at the amount of money that was going through the market, how that money was affecting the current price, seeing if we could pick up on any particular trends. And the predominant trend we could see in this market was that there was somebody wanting to get on. We could see quite clearly that there was a repeated back orders going through the market, and that was pulling the price down. We couldn't tell exactly where the price was going to end up, but we could tell that the general trend was further down. So you can see how I split up my orders with the intent of basically just saying I'll get a good average exit at that particular point. But yeah, a fairly clear backer in the market, and something that you should be looking out for.